As you know, I come to Scotland several times a year, and you always make me feel at home. Indeed, just 10 days after I was elected leader of the Conservative Party, I came to Scotland, and I shall never forget the warmth of that reception. Overnight, I became Maggie. I've been Maggie ever since. Now, I really would like to thank you for your foresight and thoughtfulness for arranging this rally on my husband's 70th birthday. It's the best and largest birthday party we could possibly have had. It's sometimes suggested that the Conservative Party needn't worry about its political strength in Scotland because its power base is south of the border and Scotland is Labour territory. Nothing could be further from the truth. We are a Conservative and a Unionist party, and we seek success in every part of Britain. As Disraeli said, we are a national party or nothing. And he was referring not only to people in all parts of Great Britain, but to people from all walks of life. Scotland ought to be natural Tory territory. That's the way we want to see it. We did it in the 1950s, and it is time that together we did it again. But, Mr. President, the economic summit at Bonn, of course, went far beyond economics. For sitting round that table last week were the nations which fought each other in that devastating war which ended 40 years ago. Britain fought then to uphold freedom, democracy, and Western civilization itself. One of the world's ugliest tyrannies had to be defeated so that we could live in peace and human dignity. It was a war of the common man, our own, Russian, French, and American. We all fought, rich and poor, men at the front, women in the factories, fought together in a common cause which transcended all our differences. Here in Britain, under the indomitable leadership at Number 10, we lived and made history. Some gave their lives. Many were at constant risk in London streets, at Anzio, in Coventry, at Murmansk. The ideas of men like Mitchell, like Sidney Cam, like Watson, Watt, and Barnes-Wallis changed the course of the war. Each individual, whoever he was or she was, made his own distinctive contribution to the common purpose. Each was a vital part of the whole. Each one mattered. And as it was in winning the war, so it is in winning the peace. Each one matters. It was a war fought for freedom and justice. It is a peace built on freedom and justice. For freedom belongs not to a collective, not to this or that class, but to individuals, each and every one. Somewhere along the way, we lost that vision. We looked to the state for too much and to ourselves for too little. And so in 1979, this government set out to redress the balance between the power of the state and that of the citizen in favor of the citizen. Now, Mr. President, I have never believed in laissez-faire. I believe that just as each of us has an obligation to make the best of his talents, so government has an obligation to create the framework within which those talents can flourish. And central to that task of creating the right framework is the building of a Britain where everyone can become a property owner. Mr. President, the Labour Party can't stand the thought that we want to move to a classless society where everyone counts, because class is the whole basis of the socialist creed, and without it they're lost. And they've uttered yowls of rage. It was, after all, the socialists who fought tooth and nail against the right of council tenants to buy their own home. And who can really be sure that Labour wouldn't abolish tax relief for the home buyer with a mortgage? Of course, it depends who's got hold of the megaphone for the day. And it's Labour who have designs on your occupational pension. They want to direct where the pension funds will be invested, not for your benefit, but to further socialist planning. And it's Labour who want to go back to their old levels of income tax. Have you forgotten what those were? Let me remind you. Under socialism, on earnings, a top rate of 83 pence in the pound. That was the income tax. And on savings, a top rate of 98 pence in the pound. What a penalty on success. Hardly the way to keep the talent Britain needs to create more jobs. And it's the socialists who back every strike. And it was their supporters who used the picket line to try and prevent men and women from going peacefully to their place of work as it is their right to do.